One, and you're live, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to this Strategy and Resources Committee meeting on 1st of February. Another month gone. My name is Councillor Mark Durham. I'm your chairperson for this committee. Members, you are reminded we are streaming this meeting live as well as recording, and being present in this meeting, you're giving your consent to being recorded during each item. Please put your hand up to indicate if you wish to speak. I will then invite you at the appropriate time. Members, could I ask you to avoid approaching the top table as this could interfere with the cameras and live stream? Please note that the YouTube live stream sound recording is dependent on the correct use of microphones. Therefore, can I ask, when invited to speak, you remember to turn on your microphone, turn it off when finished. Please reference a page or paragraph number when referring to the agenda papers. Keep your contributions clear and concise as possible. Item 2, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chairman. Apologies been received from Councillor Lay and Councillor Stamp, and Councillor Lagan is attending as a substitute for Councillor Stamp. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Is Councillor White not here? No, I can't see her. She's literally just coming in the door. Good evening, Councillor White.
Sorry, Chairman, I tried to chop my thumb off before I came here today.
Oh, that was yeah, okay. Right. Councillor White is now here. We don't have minutes because the meeting was only last week for this last committee meeting, and I've only just had the draft through. Item 4, declarations of interest to disclose the existence and nature of any disclosable pecuniary interests, other registrable interests and non-registrable interests relating to items of business on the agenda having regard to paragraph 9 and appendix B of the Code of Conduct for members. And members, you're reminded that you're also required to disclose any such interests as soon as you become aware, should the need arise through the meeting. Any declarations of interest? Nobody is showing. Thank you very much indeed. Public participation, I don't believe we have any.
No, Chairman, we haven't got any. Thank you.
Members, before we move on to the first report, you will have received an email about the very sad passing of Berna Casey at the weekend. And Berna was one of our committee clerks, and everybody would, I'm sure, acknowledge the fact that she was extremely efficient, and she was really, a great member of the team. Will be very sadly missed by obviously her friends and family and everybody in this council. Members, I would ask you to stand and just have a minute's quietness, please. Thank you, members. Okay, we now move on to our first report of the evening, and that is to be found on pages 5 to 18 of your agenda pack, and that is Procurement Strategy. And Mr. Holmes, I think this is you, isn't it? Oh. I'm sure he's presenting this evening. Oh, okay. Ms. Cardy, good evening. Over to you.
Thank you. Yes, if it's okay, Chairman, I'll take this report. This is a request sorry, you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay. The purpose of this report is to obtain approval to put in place a new procurement strategy, which is attached to Appendix 1 of the report. The strategy reflects national best practice and local priorities for procurement. It also brings in some immediate changes required for a new procurement reform bill, which followed Brexit. Although the bill was put into place in October 23, we are required to start implementing this from March 24, and it must be fully implemented by October 24. It's just useful to note that the changes in that are not onerous for us. So it will be minor changes that need to be made. The purpose of putting a procurement strategy in is we don't currently have one, and we've not had one. It just reflects all of the rules and controls that we currently have in place for procurement, and it just brings together a whole strategy that just details how those work. The council is asked to approve the adoption of this strategy, so we're asking for this committee to recommend that to council. It also asks for delegated authority to be granted to the Director of Strategy and Resources to approve amendments to the strategy where required, as it might be just some policy or procedural changes internally that might need some changes. Any major change in law would come back to committee.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Members, you've got two recommendations in front of you. The first one is to approve the strategy, and then the second is to give the Director of Strategy and Resources delegated authority. Do we have any questions? Councillor Lagan.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the report. Very good. My point is raised upon the delegation, because the delegation to approve amendments to the procurement strategy where required, it's a very broad church, that statement. I'd prefer to see it with the Director of Resources and the Chair of Strategy and Resources consulted with, because it may have an implication on strategic as well as operational issues.
Mr. Holmes, do you have any comment on that, given that you are the Director of Strategy and Resources?
Chairman, I'm afraid I'm not. I'm Director of Service Delivery.
Sorry, your service delivery, sorry.
But no,
Yeah.
I think there's no reason why that couldn't happen. That could be done, and that has been done before for other delegations. So yes, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, apologies, Ms. Lucas. Yes, it's Paul, isn't it? I'm sorry, it's been a long day. It's been a very long day. I'm sorry, very, very long day. Any other questions, members? So basically that is an amendment proposed by Councillor Lagan, just to include the Chairman of SNR. Councillor Fluker, yeah?
I don't think anyone seconded that.
Well, I haven't got to it yet. So we have that proposal, and I was just about to say, is that seconded? And it is seconded by Councillor Spenceley. All in favour as amended? Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Next item on the agenda is all about social value, I believe.
Chairman, sorry, just to confirm, along with that amendment, members are actually
Yes,
agreeing with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. Next item on page 19 is the social value policy, and that is being taken by Ms. Cardy again.
That would be me again.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Says Miss White on my thing, but never mind. Okay, Ms. Cardy, go ahead.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to obtain approval to put in place the social value policy, which is attached to Appendix 1 to the report. The policy will support and align with the Council's corporate plan and the climate action strategy, and it sets out the principles to support the Council priority in considering social policy in its procurement. In 2012, which an act came into force in January 13, that said public authorities are required to consider, when undertaking procurement, how services procured might improve the economic, social and environmental well-being of their area. The requirement only applies to above threshold procurement. That threshold is 50,000. So this policy for Maldon sets out to take further that we will not just consider social value over 50,000 in value, but also of lower values. So within our policies and our procedures, officers are encouraged to include social value priorities in their procurement. So it's seeking an adoption of this social value policy. And again, it's just asking for delegated authority to the Director of Strategy and Resources for minor amends in the policy where any of the acts or any of the policies or procurement processes have minor changes. Thank you, Chairman.
Members, what has happened here? Members, you see the recommendations in front of you, which I will find any second. Blinking thing here. Are there any questions for the officer while we're... Councillor Lagan, yeah, I think you're going to raise the same thing, aren't you?
Thank you, Chair.
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Basically exactly the same as a broad church, and I think again that in conjunction with the chair of the Strategy and Resources Committee, exactly the same proposals are made on the previous recommendation.
Is there a seconder for that proposal then? Yeah, I've got Councillor White, I think was first with her hand there. Are there any questions for the officer before we seek to agree that proposal? So we have a proposal to accept the recommendation subject to the amendment of including the chairman of S&R, duly proposed and seconded. Those in favour, please. Thank you very much indeed. Any abstentions? Anybody against? Councillor Fluker, you're just... No, I'm just mindful that you chose not to vote. I don't know if we missed you or you were missing us, or... That's okay, that's good. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, we now come to the next item, which is the pay policy, to be found on page 33. And who's taking us through this? Ms. Cardy, again, it's your evening this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. So this report presents the pay policy. The pay policy statement is an annual statutory requirement, and it describes the approach of the authority on pay-related matters, particularly the remuneration of the highest and lowest paid staff. It has to be annually approved at Council and published on our website by 1st of April of the relevant year. So this is for 2024-25. There are specific requirements that statutory sets out that we must publish in this statement, one of which is the pay multiplier, which is the ratio between the highest paid earner, in Maldon's case the directors, and the average earnings for the whole workforce. The government considers a maximum ratio of 20 times the average to be acceptable, and Maldon falls well below this. The policy also sets out our approach to being committed to paying the real living wage to the lowest paid staff, and details also the annual percentage pay increase. The pay award for next year will not be finalised until negotiations between unions and the National Joint Council have taken place, and then locally we adhere to those findings. The committee are asked to agree this statement ahead of approval at Council and publication on our website to meet statutory requirements. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. Members, the recommendation is to Council that the pay policy statement attached in Appendix 1 be agreed. Are there any questions? Councillor Thompson.
Apologies, Chairman, I was being too speedy to second. I don't have a
Right,
question.
well, let's go to questions first, if there are any. There don't appear to be any, so would you like to propose that? Councillor Thompson? Yeah, is that seconded? Councillor Bown? Those in favour? Thank you very much indeed. Anybody against or abstaining? Okay, thank you very much indeed. We now, the next item, urgent items of business that the chairman considers.
Chairman, sorry, on the previous item, just to clarify that is a recommendation to council.
Yes, we did say that actually, Tara.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine. Thank
that's
you.
fine. Thank you. There are no items of urgent business. Item 8, the exclusion of public and press. So, as chairman, I move that the committee resolves that under section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of schedule 12A to the Act, and this satisfies the public interest test. I so move. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Thompson. All in favour? That's sufficient. Thank you. Can you let us know when the live stream's off, Tara, please?